against the law to look this damn good. Watch out now. Cause baby, I feel real good and I wish I would. Watch out now. It's gotta be against the law.
Wake up! Yep, it's that time again. Vape AM brought to you by vapers1.com. I'm your host, Anthony Ramella. All right, guys, back again. I know we missed yesterday. Had a little housekeeping we had to take care of.
Housekeeping, you want me for pillow?
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God.
Housekeeping, you want me to jerk you off?
What kind of hotel is this?
So I try and get on here every day, but some days I have to miss because, you know, I have a job and there's stuff I got to get done, and I really want to bring this stuff to you guys every day. So I'm trying my best. So if I miss a day every now and then, just understand that it's not on purpose. I love doing this show. This is like the highlight of my day. So I want to see you guys as much as possible. And yesterday I was kind of bummed that I didn't get to do it. But, you know, I'm back again today. We may start doing more of these shows as a live show to give you guys a chance to kind of come in and comment and ask questions and things like that. So just stay tuned for that. I may start doing them live as soon as tomorrow, and then I'll wait for you guys to get caught up and start, doing the views. We still will do the replays after that, so you can watch all this information even if you don't catch us live. But I see a lot of other reviewers in these types of shows going live so people can ask questions, because there's a lot of stuff going on in vaping and there's a lot of confusion out there. So I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to ask questions. Am I going to get everything right? No. But that's why I tell you guys to do research. We try and give you links that you can use so that you can read these articles and make sure that you understand what's going on in the industry. But in all honesty, a lot of this stuff is so confusing and so convoluted that I don't think anyone really understands exactly what's supposed to happen. And I think that's kind of on purpose. So anyway, let's get on with the show. We'll do some birthdays this morning. So I was looking at some famous birthdays today. Looks like Blake Shelton's birthday is today. Looks like he's 43 years old. So yeehaw for Blake Shelton. And then Paul McCartney, 77 years old. So if you're a Beatles fan and you like that type of music, I'm not a huge Beatles fan, unfortunately. I'm more of a Stones guy, but I do understand those out there, and they were a major influencer, and there was probably a Beatles epidemic at some point. So, just a little bit of information there for you. All right, we'll look at some history for you guys today as well. I'm only going to bring you one thing, but I felt it was kind of poignant. In 1948, the UN Commission on Human Rights adopts the International Declaration of Human Rights. The reason I find that this is kind of poignant for the type of things that we do is I feel like vaping should be my right. I should be allowed to use this product because it is a harm reduction. I really don't want to have to go back to smoking cigarettes, and if this all goes away, I may not have any other alternative. I enjoyed smoking when I was a smoker. This has allowed me to reduce the amount of harm to my body, but if it goes away, unfortunately, that's just something that I'm going to have to deal with at that moment in time. So, like I said, I feel like it's kind of part of my human right. All right, well, let's get on to some Wake and Vape news this morning. I'm only going to do one subject today, but it's a fairly long one. Those of you that know me know I'm a fan of Vaping 360 and Jim McDonald. There was an article that came out on June 17th that I wanted to kind of go through with you guys. I'm going to do some reading today. I've got the article pulled up here, so I'll just kind of go through it. I would very much encourage you to actually go to Vaping 360 and read this article. It's titled, Pushed by Federal Court, FDA Releases PMTA Guidance. The reason I'd like you to go to the website and read this is because it's really long. It's probably one of the longest articles that I've seen with him. There's a lot of, screen captures and things from tweets, from Gottlieb, from the AVA, as well as other people in here. So we're just going to kind of dive right into this to kind of go through this article, and you can have my opinions on this if you really care. Because obviously, if you don't care about my opinions, go watch somebody else. But anyway, under the pressure of the federal court, the FDA has finally released vaping industry guidance for fulfilling pre-market tobacco applications. So that means PMTA, that's what that stands for, pre-market tobacco application. And depending on what happens in the federal lawsuit in Maryland, vape manufacturers could be forced to submit multi-million-dollar applications in as little as 4 months or be forced out of business. So what's basically going on here is that the guidance regulations have been released. There is now a list of things that you can look at to see if you would like to submit a PMTA. Now, I'm going to go through some information that I already know, and like I said, I would really encourage you to read this article. So here's the deal. A couple of things that are real stumbling blocks for this. Not only is the PMTA process very complicated, there is a ton of paperwork that goes along with it. And then along with that, once you submit your PMTA, there are like thousands of hours of study and testing that has to be done with these products, which is going to require them to hire on people that can do this. Now, those of you that don't know, the FDA's funding is about 75% from Big Pharma. All right. The federal government only gives them about 24% of the funding that the FDA receives. So that 24%, I mean, obviously, Big Pharma is not going to be paying for them to do PMTAs for, vape products because they're 100% against it. It's a competition of the nicotine replacement therapy products that they put out. So that's what you're looking at with that. So they are completely understaffed to deal with this situation. So the paperwork's a lot. The rules are hard to understand. And the other biggest probably stumbling block with this is the money involved. I've seen estimates as low as about $114,000 per flavor per nic strength, and as high as $450,000 per flavor per nic strength. And I did do a little math with this, and I saw this with someone else that had actually looked at these figures. They say even if a company only had like 6 products that they wanted to get through PMTAs, you're still looking at about $2.1 million for those products. That is a number that is staggering. I know those of you, 2.1 million, I guess to me anyway, is a number that is beyond my comprehension. That's what these kinds of businesses might do in a year in sales alone. I'm not talking profit. I'm not talking about, money they're putting in their pocket. I'm talking about total sales, and then you've got to take out your product costs and all the other things that go along with that. So here's the situation with this. What I see coming down the pike is that really none of these smaller companies are going to be able to make it through this process. And the bottom line is, even if they submit this application, there's no guarantee that they'll actually get approved. Now, I know what some of you guys are probably thinking that maybe, well, what about some of the larger companies like Juul and whatnot? Well, here's the stumbling block for them. Since most of you already know that this vaping epidemic, as they're calling it among our youth, is primarily focused on Juul. If you don't really think that, then you're just not paying attention to what the news articles are talking about. I even saw a poster that was made, it looked like kindergartners made it, but I guess it was from high school seniors, about the effects of a Juul product, and it had all of these things supposedly that Juul had. Now, it was all not true. I mean, everything on there was basically not true, but it still seems like they're focusing on that. One of the things in the PMTA process is that you have to be able to substantially prove that this is not targeted towards young people or people that have never smoked before. Well, that's a stumbling block I don't think Juul could overcome, especially with all of the media coverage. I mean, there's no way that these scientists or people that are making these or approving these PMTAs are going to believe that that's the case because of all the bad press. So even though they have the money to put this through, I don't think they're going to be able to pass some of the requirements that go along with this. Now, it was funny, one of the things that Jim had actually said in here was, imagine if cigarettes had to go through this process as well. And it's a very, very valid point. So on July 28th of 2017, the then FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb announced a bold, comprehensive strategy for addressing tobacco and nicotine. And I think that that's what this is, kind of getting down to. The problem is there's no way to get rid of cigarettes. They've already kind of been locked in under a different law. And so what they're dealing with is trying to get rid of the vaping products. And this is happening for quite a few reasons. Number one, the MSA. This is the money that states get because of big tobacco. All right, so they get a constant, every year they get a bunch of money with that. Now, because like I've talked about this in other episodes, they purchased bonds so they could get the money faster. Those bonds are coming due, and the MSAs end in 2022. So it's only a couple more years that they're actually going to be getting money from big tobacco under this current MSA program. Well, they have no other way to pay for these bonds. So the sooner they can get vaping stopped, they know they're going to see a resurgence of people that are going back to smoking, and that may allow them to have enough money to fix these issues. So we talk a lot about California, and I'm getting a little bit off the subject here, but I'm trying to stay on track. We talk a lot about California on these shows. I'm not, obviously, those of you that watch the show know I'm not a big fan of the lawmakers in California and some of the things they're doing, and especially in San Francisco. But those of you that have been watching the news, the Democratic convention that was just recently held in San Francisco was sponsored by Juul. Can you really believe that? And here, the picture that I actually saw had Nancy Pelosi up there on stage giving a speech while the huge, 10-foot Juul ad was behind her. All right? You can't sell Juul products really in San Francisco. All right? Juul's trying to make a statement that says they're not leaving San Francisco, which I don't believe. I would definitely not put money on that. But it's all about the money. Like, I think that at some point it was just funny, like they just went, well, Juul wants to sponsor us, and like, oh, we can't have that. And I'm like, well, look at the size of this check. All right, well, maybe we can make an exception for this. And that's the thing. If you believe that politicians have your best interest at heart, that is a perfect example of how they are just money-hungry, greedy people. If they had your best interest at heart, they would be looking for the healthiest alternative to get nicotine to people that use that product instead of completely the opposite, where they are allowing the most dangerous thing to actually stay legal when something that has really shown in many studies to be so much less harmful than the cigarette products. So, I get kind of wound up and I understand. All right, so there are a couple lawsuits going on to fight Judge Grimm's judgment or in that case that he put. So the same groups that are largely responsible for instigating the vaping panic, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Cancer Society Action Network, the American Heart Association, the American Lung Association, and Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, or Big Pharma, and the Truth Initiative, Big Tobacco, filed a lawsuit in March of 2018 demanding that the FDA reinstate the original deadline and begin enforcing the requirement for pre-market tobacco applications to be reviewed, and that we're on the market after August of 2016. All right, so we all know that Grimm made a ruling on this and pushed the FDA and said, okay, you've got to do these faster. So they did put out the pre-market application requirements, so those are out there. But like I said, guys, there is really no small company that's going to be able to get this done. I mean, they just are not going to be able to afford that. And the big companies that could afford to do it have such a negative stigma when it comes to this youth vaping epidemic that I don't think that any of that's going to pass either. So there is a company out of China, and it's actually blue, but I can't remember what the corporate actual name of it is. But they are the only one that I think might possibly. But guys, what you're looking at here is even if a few of these products pass, your vape stores are going away. There's no vape store that could survive with 4 flavors, okay? It's not going to happen. And what it's going to do, it's going to just push all this stuff to convenience stores. All these vape shops are going to close. All these people are going to be unemployed. And guys like me who have degrees and experience and doing other things, I'm coming in, I'm going to take your job because, I don't have a job anymore, and that's what's going to happen. And I'm probably smarter or more educated than some of the people that are out there that are currently doing a job. And I'm going to have no choice. I've got to pay my bills, and I got to do that thing. So you're going to see an influx in people who are intelligent because it takes some knowledge to know about this stuff. It's not like the average vapor that has one product. I mean, I have to have knowledge of 100 different products and all of that, and understand how all these electrics work. I think I won't have an issue finding another job, but I don't really want to. I like what I'm doing here, and I want to keep these stores open, but the way that this is coming down, it's just, there's no possibility of that being the case. And so a lot of the news lately has been about, putting your, warning label on or all of the other, none of that crap even matters anymore, okay? The PMTA process they're pushing through, this is the only thing that you need to be concerned about because everything else really, really doesn't matter. I'm looking for a quote here that I'm trying to find on here because I think it was really poignant for what we're talking about today. And like I said, this article is really long. Normally, Jim, it's like 1 or 2 pages. This thing's like 5 or 6 pages long. It is definitely long. But I would really encourage you guys to get on here and read through this article because I'm not going to even scratch the surface about what's going on with this today. So give me just a second here. I swear I will find this. All right, here it is. So I'm going to read this quote to you, and I think it's very poignant, and this is kind of where we'll leave you guys today. One has not only a legal but moral responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Martin Luther King Jr. Okay? This is an unjust law. It is. These are unjust things that they're trying to put on us. And until we take this seriously and stand up for what we know is right, and stop killing 500,000 people a year in the United States, I just don't have any respect for our industry. We have to just stand up together and say no. We are not going to allow this to happen just because of money. All right, guys. Don't forget about the I Vape, I Vote. Get over to vapers1.com. We do have a new coupon code for you guys. It's VapeAM15, VapeAM15, all one word, so you get 15% off your entire order over at vapers1.com. Please stand with us. You know, we are really, really close to an end to all of this, and I'm not going to yell and scream about this. I'm just going to say we need to stand together and fight this, because I want to keep this stuff. I want to keep my job. I want to keep doing what I'm doing, and I want to help people stop smoking. All right? We're going to see you guys again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And for all you smokers that don't know, check it out. Pick up the phone, hit the mic, vapers1.com is the site. They got what you need to make the switch. You're never gonna find a better site than this. They got mods, they got coils, and the liquid lowdown. Vapers1.com is the best around. Spend $35 and your shipping's free. Vapers1.com, we got all you need. So just click, quit, done. Vapers1.com.